morning, afternoon, or evening, wherever you're at, ladies and gents. I am Kurojiri, your resident tinkerer and Medarotter, and this is the Medarot News Network, bringing you all the latest developments and happenings with our favorite pet fighting robot series. Now this week, it looks like we're going to be kicking off the 3.5-year anniversary in style, with the introduction of not one, but two further Archangel types, kind of starting up and picking up the series that we got with Milkness and Gabriven, who are based off the Archangels Michael and Gabriel, respectively. This week in particular, we'll be getting two more based off Raphael and Uriel in particular, not just with new models in general, but also to celebrate the 3.5 years that the Medarot S game has been made live and launched on mobile. And boy, oh boy, has it been quite the journey with the kind of friends they made, models they've released, and things that they've introduced with this game alone, just in these last 3.5 years alone. All the collabs, all the new models, all the returning models from previous games, this is our chance to officially kind of revel and reminisce in it just a little bit with the events and the festivities that are going to be kicking us off. That being said, let's go ahead and jump right into what was announced for this week, starting with the gacha banners and highlighting the two new Archangel types going forward. With the introduction of those, we have URL0 Uriel, based off the Archangel Uriel, with a kit of All Restore, Panic, Punishment, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of All Rounder. Now, Uriel will be introducing one brand new skill to the game called Punishment, with that holy flaming sword on the left arm. But to explain it briefly, it is basically the reverse and the counterpart to Kurojiri, which has absolutely punished and terrorized current competitive meta, especially in the realms of PvP and catching foes on the back end by purposely slowing down to catch them in their cooldown phases. Punishment in particular actually decides to take that and flip it on its lid. Instead of catching an opponent in the backside, you instead with Punishment will face them head on, dealing times 1.5 damage to a forward-facing foe and deal a random status ailment to them upon attacking. However, if you are too slow and catch them in their cooldown phase, you instead will be dealing 50% of your total damage as a penalty for not facing them forward. The other model is RPL0 Rafalt, based off the Archangel Raphael, with a kit of Wide Repair, Anti-Air, Hyper Tornado, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Absond. Now, Wide Repair will be the first introduction to this on a non-collab model. The first introduction was on Gaia Chapin from the Kurochan collab rerun back in February, and Hyper Tornado is a brand new skill that it will be introducing into the game. Explaining it briefly, though, is a whole lot easier than it was for Punishment, and it's simply just a more powerful tornado skill with pierce damage. Very similar to Hyper Freeze and Hyper Thunder that we've had up to this point already. This one's just kind of rounding out that holy trinity. However, it is also worth noting that with the eclipse of these two models in particular, I do sense a massive shift when it comes to the competitive meta of PvP, especially with the 3.5 version dropping this coming cycle on Thursday. That'll be changing a lot, and I mean a lot of things going live. So I am expecting these two are going to spearhead the new changes in the meta going forward when they do officially drop. With the introduction of these two, we are also getting reruns of the previous two Archangel types known currently in the game. Currently, that is MCL Milkness, based on Archangel Michael, with a kit of Flame, Kurojiri, Blow Away, Float Legs, and the leg ability of Trap Buster. Then, last but not least, GBL0 Gabriven, with a kit of Rebirth, Long Shot, Wide Break, Biped Legs, and the leg ability of Rising. So honestly, between the 4 of these models, much like the 7 Lucky Gods we got last week, it's going to be really hard to kind of figure out which one is better than the rest, because, being completely honest, all 4 of them offer something very powerful to the table, and you really can't ever go wrong with any of them. But if I did have to put them in a priority just based on what I see of the numbers and how they performed, I would have to give number 1 spot to Uriel in particular for his very aggressive ailment-based fighting kit. Gabriven behind him for female additions and access to Long Shot and Wide Break, Rebirth for resurrecting fallen allies, Raphael behind her for the case of Anti-Air and Hyper Tornado spam that he will be introducing, or rather, highlighting on and touching on specifically. And lastly, Milkness. That's not to say Milkness is the worst of the bunch, the least usable. It's just that between Tsujigiri and Blowaway, it is kind of tricky to use him as a pure set, given that one of them kind of requires to catch the foe facing you, and the other requires to catch the foe facing away from you. With the Fierce battles we have this week, it's going to be relatively lower key, but also highlighting models we have not seen for a pretty hot minute in particular. Those three in particular are KAB-0 Grade Kabuki, with a kit of triple virus, wheeled legs and the leg ability of Charm. We also have behind him LLY-0 Lily Madonna, with triple laser, tank legs and the leg ability of Haja. And then last but not least, HNM-0 Hanu Monkey, with shoot trap, heater, hammer, biped legs, and the leg ability of All-Rounder. Now, between these three models, again, as I mentioned, we're not necessarily seeing anything new or game-breaking, but there's still some very versatile skills to collect all the same. This especially applies if you are a newcomer or rookie just starting your journey as a Medarot. It never hurts to have these parts on standby just in case you need them, just for this, when the situation arises. Grade Kabuki for turn skipping with virus, Lily Madonna for lasers for very consistent damage and damage bonuses, and Hanu Monkey if you want kind of that ranged mixed fighter to kind of spice things up. That being said, I still would have to give MVP of the week to Lily Madonna specifically, given that laser is probably the most consistently used of the three that are here, and even though Grade Kabuki for virus is great, the fact that all three of his parts are heavy means that he is going to be fighting kind of at disadvantage, and it does mean a little bit of a juggling game will need to be played to balance his parts with your leg's heavy limit. Now, to kind of kick off the anniversary event specifically, we are getting the introduction of two limited time SR Medaroters for the anniversary. This time around highlighting the original and OG main protagonist Medaroters of Medarot 1, and that is Hikaru and Kirara. Hikaru in particular will grant you a buff to success and power by about 30%, and your power will get an additional 40% if you're using a male type tin pet attached to him. In addition, you will also get a 15% charge bonus added to your gauge for every part you break when attacking the foe. Now, again, as a reminder, with the 3.5 patch, they are taking Metaforce nukes out of that equation, so this is still going to be a very useful skill all the same, especially tying up there with Medarot's Salt and Kazumi SR ranks, which do the same thing. Kirara, on the other hand, focuses exclusively on rifle damage by buffing it by 600 and a buff to crit rate damage, but also doubles the damage taken for one turn. This means that it is kind of a double-edged sword in this case, as it does mean that while you'll deal more damage, you'll also be taking significantly more. But of course, if you have a shielder or defender on the team, you can kind of curb this to a point and kind of keep that debuff at bay. But if you're fighting someone who ignores shields, breaks shields, or ignores them with through shot or through fight, well, you may as well start saying your goodbyes now, because you probably will not see that bot again for the rest of the fight. We're also getting, of course, with an anniversary, the release of a special anniversary gacha. With this in particular, it does give you basically one free pull of all limited time pickup models. You don't know who you get till you roll for it, and that can be anyone from one you already have to one that you actually do not have up to this point. And that does also include the two new models, I believe, Rafalt and Urield. So again, I do wish you the best of luck. Roll the die, chance fate, and just see who you end up with, just to kind of take home as your anniversary gift and celebration for playing. We are also getting a brand new PvP banner that will be going live every week with the usual PvP banner, or replacing it. Not a lot was actually explained. But with this one in particular, they are highlighting Volume 10 Tantaros R and Mach Massive R. Specifically, these three were exclusive events for physically attending or having someone share with you the QR code of going to the Medarot meet of the 25th anniversary back in November. Up to this point, they were previously unavailable, which means if you did not go or did not get a QR code, you would be unfortunately out of luck. But thankfully, with this, it does look like they will be made permanently available, albeit with a little bit of a requirement in this case, and they are still very handy models. I do have reviews on these three specifically you can find on my channel if you do have questions. No real telling on if it means that this will be the new gacha banner for the PvP, or if they'll be including a second new one. But again, time will tell when the patch does go live and officially drop it. Lastly, on top of all the top-up bonuses and shop bundles that were revealed to be topping up the store and refueling in the store here soon, we're also getting a Medarot 1 BGM pack that will be made available for purchase for roughly about 20 USD, if I did read the price correctly. No real telling on that, honestly, and again, time will tell when the patch drops and it is officially made available. But this pack does include about 7 or 8 different songs from the original Medarot 1, one of the most popular being Stormcloud, which is one of the better and more renowned tunes, which is kind of a prepping for the battle kind of thing before it actually begins. With the event itself, getting into the meat of this episode and what it is highlighting specifically, we are getting the introduction of a 3.5-year anniversary event and the return of the Wheel of Fortune. This alone already tells you that this event will be 2 weeks, which again will give us plenty of time to farm for events and rewards, and also make the most of any bonuses that can be had through it. In particular, this week in particular, they did not touch honestly on a lot of the rewards that you can earn from the Wheel of Fortune, but for those that are unaware or out of the loop, simply put, any reward tickets you earn for farming the event, you can use toward a wheel to spin, upon which the number of tickets you use gives you the number of spins until you completely empty the box of rewards. When you collect the big reward of that particular box, you have the option to continue going and empty the box, or you can continue on to the next one and forfeit any of the remaining rewards you decide aren't really worth your time. But again, with this being a reminder, this is a 2-week period, and specifically, this event is ticket-based. This means that mixed parts will be encouraged if you are going to make the most and capitalize on the event. Specifically, the 2 new Archangels, Rafalt and Uriel, will give you a +4 per part across the team. Milgnus and Gabriel will give you a +2 each, and the Fierce Battles at +1. Anniversary Hikaru will give you a +4 bonus to those tickets. SR Hikaru will give you a +2, and Rare Rank or N Rank will give you a +1, as well as the 2 new Medarots that were also introduced with the teasing and reveal of Uriel and Rafalt, who are actually their handlers. I believe they're likely going to give these to us as event rewards through the first half or even second half of the event. Again, they kind of kept that on the down low and wasn't really able to glean much from it. But again, I don't know if this is going to be a super lucrative event, but given that it is a 2-week one, I would encourage pushing on this as hard as you can, as you would any other event, to maximize on those rewards and bonuses. Lastly, just to touch very, very heavily one final time on the major 3.5 version update that is going live this week. Just to kind of touch on some of the big changes that will be going live, just so that you are in the know and aware of them. In particular, to start us off, a tutorial menu for beginners will be implemented into the game, teaching the basics and mechanics thereof. This can be refreshers for any veteran Medarotters that need kind of touching up on their knowledge, or for rookies or new players that are just starting out and need to learn how the game works. There will also be rewards for first-time clearance of these tutorials, so whether you are a seasoned vet or a new player, there really is no reason not to participate in these. We also mentioned that Samurai, Maid Puppy, and Bastor will be added as tutorial row battles as practice opponents, just to kind of teach you the ropes and make sure that you know what you're doing upon graduation of those particular tutorials. With events themselves, there is going to be a general adjustment made to balance and row battles as a whole. Silent Leader will be added as a permanent mechanic to the game, which is a carryover from Medarot 9. Explaining Silent Leader briefly, much like Current, you don't know who the leader is until you attack them and damage their head parts specifically. But upon doing so and flushing them out, a banner will appear underneath them on the field screen to showcase their location at all times. This now gives you the ability to either kill the leader quickly with single target nukes, or if you decide to take the scenic route and kill the allies instead and then go after the leader, the choice at that point will now be entirely yours. In addition, when destroying parts using Metaforce, Sonic Shot, Bisecting Strike, Rock Crusher, whatever you use that will nuke parts with Metaforce, you will no longer earn bonus charge to your charge gauge for any parts broken. This, I believe, is going to very specifically curb a massive amount of Metaforce spammers currently plaguing PvP. Myself included, having to make use of it just for the sake of having to make high ranks, and kind of out of necessity more than anything else. But I am very much so looking forward to when this patch does drop and patch it out, to kind of add more variety to PvP and the meta, and make sure that we keep things fresh every week with leagues going forward. Lastly, with PvP is where the most updates will be going live. Meta League rewards will be permanently increased and more lucrative. That means there is no reason not to participate. You will be getting very fair rewards based on ranks, so the higher you rank, the more rewards you get. Survival bonus, which explained briefly is the amount of points that you keep or earn relative to the number of parts remaining on your team. This will no longer count against you if a part is broken. That means Sacrifice and Assassin will be perfectly safe to use without risking losing any points. However, the survival bonus will now count against you. It will not count against you if the Medarot is shut down. This means in particular that if the Medarot is KO'd, survival bonus will not count against you and you will not lose points for that ally going down. The activation bonus, on the other hand, is increased when parts are destroyed on the enemy team and further boosted when enemy Medarots are shut down. Basically, more points for basically doing what you would normally, of breaking parts and knocking out opponents. Leader Destruction is a new bonus being added to PvP. You will now earn points for the number of allies remaining standing when KOing the leader. In contrast to current PvP, or rather PvP up to this point, since there is no league this week until the patch, where you had to basically wipe everybody to maximize your bonuses, that is now a thing of the past. Now, if you can single target the leader specifically and leave the allies standing, then you earn more points for doing so as a single target kind of bonus. Kind of a skill thing more than anything else. Win streak, total damage bonus, and legend rank bonus will be removed from modifiers. Win streak removed basically means you now have no reason not to participate or complain when you have a losing streak, because you'll still be earning points all the same whether you win or lose. Total damage, basically the amount of damage you deal over the course of the fight, will no longer count either, so just use what you can, whatever's the most convenient, to guarantee you that victory. And Legend rank is basically just bragging rights for making it up to Legend rank before the week ended. That no longer will be a thing either. And then lastly, there will also be some changes to the enemy matchmaking algorithms to hopefully optimize a lot of changes on who is made available relative to your rank. One other reminder when it comes to the community as well, you guys are kind of disappointing me if I can be real with you for a minute, because about this time last month, I did officially announce that the Project Rising Beetle server is officially hosting their own version of the Ori Meta contest, or basically just a fan art contest in particular, with a particular theme motif prompt for the submissions of Summer Fun. We are currently a little over halfway through the month of July now, and I really haven't seen any entries, if at all. So, like I said, guys, I'm kind of disappointed. I was really hoping, and I am still hoping, that you guys will make it hard on me and pound out a bunch of really beautiful entries here close to the end of the month. And depending on how much engagement and participation we get these last week and a half or so, I may extend the contest to give you guys more time. Because we do have some cash prizes on the line if we do get some participation, but if we don't get a lot of entries, if any at all, well, we really don't have much to hand out. So again, just a reminder of that is currently ongoing. There is a random generator that was tossed in there as well to kind of spit out a kit and a theme for you to kind of tinker with. Even though the theme is Summer Fun in particular, it does kind of give you an idea of kits and designs, so you can kind of put the pieces together and figure out what you want. On the community front, we are still always looking for translators, coders, and cleaners to assist us with any of our endeavors. Currently, Medarot 3 has been making fantastic leaps and bounds in progress with translation, with a very renewed interest of some new party members that have been added, that have been joined to help aid that progress. Many, many thanks to you, and also wonderful work thus far. If you'd like to know more or help us out with another project, Medarot 3, Medarot 4, or the Reloaded manga, feel free to reach out to me or join us in our Discord provided below, and we can get you in touch with the right people. We would love to have more projects worked on, we just don't have the manpower to do it. So if you can lend a hand or know someone who can lend a hand, absolutely send them our way, and we'll fill in on what has been done and what still needs done. With the weekly art highlights here on the MNN, I just absolutely have to gush about this one for a moment. A number of weeks ago, you all who follow me on Twitter might recall I did a one of Flintlock's Ori Meta designs, as KBT designs, as a 3D model for Kicks. It was a fantastic model. I had a lot of fun building it and putting the details into it, and then I tagged him and sent him a copy of the model. Well, it seems that Flintlock decided to turn everything on its lid and offer me in return a 2D art of my design, Steam General. So I saw the line art he posted as a work in progress on Twitter a couple days ago, and then yesterday he tagged me with the official final result, and honestly, it looks beautiful. I've been gushing about this since yesterday, and I was so excited when I got it. Flintlock, if you are watching me, thank you so much for the art. I am going to treasure this thing always. Do also give a follow to Glow Squid as well, a new friend of ours in the community, with this wonderful caricaturized art of Pepper Cat, everybody's favorite thunder-fingered cat type from the anime. Very well-renowned character, well-beloved character. You can generally never go wrong with calling her a favorite for her speed and her heart-stopping performance while on the field. Definitely give both of these artists a follow if you'd like to see more art in your feed, Medarot or otherwise. You most certainly will not be sorry for doing so. That being said, that officially covers basically everything for this week's episode. So again, they kept a number of things in the dark mostly when it comes to the anniversary event, so only time will tell when everything does drop how things will look. But if you'd like to know more, you can follow us below on Facebook at the Medarot News Network page or the Metabots Forever community on there. You can also join us on Discord in the link provided and in the comments below if you'd like to keep an even closer ear to the ground. This includes any new merchandise, new stuff update, fan arts, my weekly episodes, or even our very active, constantly active Eastern or Western Medarot S community. Feel free to drop on in there. We'd be more than happy to have you. Do also give me a follow on Twitter as well if you'd like to reach out to me personally. I leave my DMs open for that very reason, so don't be a stranger. Feel free to stop in and say hello. Feel free to give me some feedback, suggestions, or whatever. I read everybody's messages and comments, so feel free to reach out to me. Don't be a stranger, and I'll get back to you when I can. In addition, if you are a streamer, YouTuber, or VTuber and would love to collaborate, whether that means having you on my channel or me stopping in on yours, I would absolutely love to coordinate something. So again, reach out to me via DMs on Twitter, and we can most certainly make something happen and coordinate some schedules. Lastly, do give these wonderful pages as well a follow on Twitter as well. Twitter user Sylvalian041, who has had a very, very engaged hand when it comes to Medarot designs in the last couple of years with Medarot S. A lot of the more popular designs of new models, actually, he did help contribute towards, if not outright design entirely. So, wonderful artists, fantastic designs. Definitely give them a follow if you'd like to see more of it. Do also give the official Medarot S page a follow on Twitter as well to kind of show your support and also keep an even closer ear to the ground on the action than you would with me. Now, granted, it will all be in Japanese with them, naturally, and mine is basically all their stuff translated into English, but still definitely give them a follow anyway and show your support. But with all that being said, as always, I do appreciate you all for stopping by again and showing your continual support and encouragement just as you always do. And until next time, this is your host, Kura Isagami of the Medarot News Network, signing out.